Were you already a silversmith? Is that how?
No,
I did it since
jewelry is a craft.
I see.
I did it.
92nd Street Y,
Oh, I see.
which everybody.
I had a mother who was the kind of mother that everybody should have, teacher or not teacher. We lived downtown because her first assignment was to be all the way, she had to get on a ferry and go out to Staten Island. In those days, teachers were not asked where they wanted to be. So we moved to really the south of the island. And when we came out of the apartment one day, down on the street level at a store, it was a craft shop. And I guess I was around 12 at that time. So we looked in the window, and they had a little loom for doing beaded belts. And I said, I want that. Now, some other mother would have said, what the hell do you want that for? You're never going to use it, forget about it. Not my mother. She said, let's go in and look at it. And we looked at it, and we bought it, and I started doing beaded belts.
How old were you?
About 12.
Oh, gosh.
I'll tell you this, I have terrible, terrible fingers. And Tim Leppery says, you have to realize, it's not arthritis, you have been doing crafts all your life, and you've simply worn off all the cartilage. There's nothing there.
Yeah, nothing
It's
there,
very
no.
painful. But that's how long I've been doing it.
That's amazing. Why did you move to Nantucket? What was the
that's
whole?
another interesting story. Have
You
ever-
were living in New York City.
Oh, definitely.
Married, right?
Oh,
Children?
absolutely. No.
We've
Okay.
never had any children.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the book Downright Densey?
I'm not.
Okay. When we lived in the Bronx, and again, I guess I was in my 12, 13, 14 years old, I used to take the trolley up the hill to Highbridge. They had a very good library and a good children's department. And I used to take books out, and this was one of many books I took out.
At random.
Downright Densey is a famous book. They've got about 50 copies at the NHA. You should read it. About a little Quaker girl on Nantucket. And I just fell in love with the idea. And I wanted to see Nantucket. Well, I had as much chance of seeing Nantucket as this bookcase does. But Mort and I were on the Cape, and I said, you know, he was going to Boston on business. And I said, I've always wanted to see Nantucket. So down we went. Of course, it wasn't here. It was in Woods Hole. And it's 4 hours. And you have to have a reservation. So we didn't have to go that year. We had to go the next year. We came back. We made a reservation. We went, and we fell in love with it.
And knew right away that.
Then we wanted
No,
Did you do part-time like most people do?
no, we just would come up here on long
That's what I meant.
weekends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not even during the
This
summer.
is what year?
19, I'd have to guess in the mid-1960s or
Okay.
early.
So it took you about 7 years
Yeah.
before you decided to buy this place.
Well, we were working.
Sure. What was your job, Mort?
I was a
it's an
textile
But
chemist,
he has an interesting job.
and
Tell him.
and I worked in dyeing and finishing plants, finishing fabrics,
No, but that's not it.
generally for the garment trade in New York.
But the government was doing seriously,
Okay.
the loan out of experts to other countries under the Marshall Plan. And they sent him to Israel to advise them on the building of dye plants. We were there for half a year.
It was a wonderful trip.
Yeah.
We had a
Wow,
wonderful
Interesting.
time. Everybody there.
I
was
worked
great.
in the Paterson area. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Paterson, New Jersey
Oh, sure.
was a big mill town,
Yep.
again supplying New York. So I generally worked in a number of plants in the area.
So the Marshall Plan, tell us a little, just briefly, what was that all about? After the war.
That was to rebuild Europe and became the aid program that they now have operated by the State Department.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a wonderful goodwill. I mean, everybody remembers the Marshall Plan as a
Right.
tremendous buildup of Europe again.
Now, Reva, you didn't stay long as a craftsperson's.
Well, I was always interested in film from the minute I grew up.
Yeah.
And I thought that I would do that when I was growing up. And I'm trying to think. The first job I had was with somebody I knew who rented out 16 millimeter prints of things. And he gave me my first job. And I told him I'm only going to stay here like a couple of months because I want to go on to other things, but I'm being honest with you. And he said, that's just fine. And he recommended me, and they had a tremendous film unit out, in Astoria. They had the big studio. So I got a job there. And I got a job, and the people who were out there then, wow. I mean, they had famous names all over the place who were in the Army and who were working. And
was this during,
Yeah.
when was this?
During the war.
During the war,
Yeah.
that's where you
Yeah.
learned. That's
where
when
I
you
worked.
learned, yeah.
And I learned
And
a
what
lot.
what were you working on then?
Mostly training films. Is what
For
they
the
were.
war?
For the war.
Anopheles Zanni, malaria.
Yeah, literally.
Malaria
oh, yeah, that was
films.
that was a big item.
Films on, syphilis and gonorrhea.
Sure.
And also, so after that I left there and I started getting jobs just working.
Freelance.
And at that time, New York, was a big film center. What's the name of the program? I always forget.
I can't
It was a
remember.
very, very well-known TV
Yeah.
program that had top stars in it, really top stars. And you start getting to know people, you
I
start
see,
working
yeah.
on stuff. And the first feature that I worked on, are you familiar with the film Tomorrow?
Yes,
Okay, that's the first thing I
course.
worked
Yeah.
on.
with Robert Duvall.
Val.
Robert Duvall.
Right.
You made
What
me,
was it? Yes, I did, and
You
I
made-
watched that movie, and it's terrific.
isn't it? And you
It's
made-
like
So
today it
unusual.
would be considered a cult,
It
a
is a
classic,
cult. It is a cult.
independent classic.
Run the watchman out here in the wintertime when the mill shut down. Well, let me help you in here so you can rest by my fire. So raw and cold out here. You from around here? I went to the store and brought you this. I thought you might like you. Merry Christmas. What are you crying for, lady? Marry me, Sarah.
Where did you see it? Do you remember?
I saw it when I made a
Pardon?
copy for
Well,
you.
he made the DVDs.
Oh, I see.
That's how I learned about it. But
You
I'm
made-
a big Robert Duvall fan.
Yeah, you made me the DVDs on that.
Yeah.
And on
And another one.
Yeah.
Pompeii. You did a documentary on
Pompeii. And
Pompeii.
you made some cuts that I didn't have the equipment for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Pompeii.
and,
Rembrandt.
Rembrandt.
Right. And Rembrandt.
And that's
That was nominated for an Academy Award.
so here, we were thinking of running them here because they have film.
Running
notice.
them at Commons.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think
And
so.
I think so,
no,
too.
Chuck thinks that's a great idea. He's all in favor of it. So, no, I went, worked on a lot of films in those days.
Now, when you moved here, was that difficult to when you finally said, okay, full time, or did you not have to work anymore?
No. I did a little work while I was still here.
Yeah.
At that time, I was publishing textile magazines.
Oh.
I had 2 magazines,
Wow.
and we were doing it ourselves.
And were they trade magazines for the trade business, or?
Well, they really weren't trade. They were more research magazines.
I see.
The idea, in fact, I think the idea has been taken up by a internet. I used to go to meetings, technical meetings, and do very substantive summaries. So people who couldn't go would subscribe to the magazine. I did that for about 10 years, and then
And you would write about like how to make a fabric, a
how
certain
to
color.
make a
or-
fabric, how to dye it, how to
Yeah.
finish it.
Wow.
He would
stuff
cover
like-
the technical papers.
Yeah,
Papers.
yeah. So you could, you had to make it
Research
explainable
papers.
so that
Yeah.
you could take it and make it.
Yeah, I thought it was a good idea. I wanted to try it. And it worked out, but it was very, very difficult doing it on my own, as a sole.
Oh, right. It
I
became
used to
your
go
own
to a
business.
meeting, do all my writing.
Yeah. And then you had
Reva,
to,
I
Reva
used
used
to
to do
type
the typing.
you guys were a team, even
Yeah.
Always.
So,
Always, huh?
so that part of it
And
worked.
then we got involved in the craft thing here. The
Right.
people who ran the shop
the
downtown,
looms,
the looms,
Bill and Andy.
were friends of ours, and they
Yeah.
were at the house one day, and they saw something that we had made, and they said, "Have you ever thought about selling?" We had never thought of selling any.
Never
of these things.
sold
And they
anything.
said, "Why don't we put them in the shop?" And that's how we started selling
Yeah.
here.
And did it work out?
Oh,
it
yes.
went fine.
You had a good business?
Oh yeah.
Do you have
Well-
anything left that you can show me?
No,
I can show
everything
you
has been
pictures.
given to the NHA.
Oh, okay. So
And
wow.
they are going to stage an exhibit.
Oh, wonderful.
We don't know
I'll
when.
tell you,
Okay.
And that's an interesting point too. The reason we thought of
You want to
giving
sit down, Reva? You
Well,
sure?
No, I can sit on that. The reason we thought of giving it to them is that we found out in research after 1860, no silversmith living on the island made large pieces, bowls, candlesticks, nothing like that. They all made spoons, souvenir spoons. You know how many they have in the collection? They have 6,000 spoons
Oh no.
that people have given them.
Unreal.
So we thought we ought to give them some more substantive stuff.
So we were the only silversmiths to make hollowware since about the middle of the 18th century.
So-
Isn't that
That's amazing.
unusual?
That is very unusual.
And Bill was very interested, of course. He's a good friend, and he said, "Oh boy,
Oh yeah.
watch out." So they're going to do an exhibit.
Oh,
But-
that'll be fun.
but
When is that going to happen?
Well, we were hoping it'd happen this year, but we have to leave it
Okay,
up to the
sure.
museum.
Sooner.
However, we will show you a book that has pictures of all our pieces
All
in it.
right. I look forward
I
to
don't
it.
know if we have it here, do we?
Well, we're going to go to the.
We're going to go over
Yeah,
there.
sure.
We're going to go over there, aren't we?
Yeah.
So why don't we go? I think we're ready.
I think so.
Whatever you feel.
Let's go over and see your new place. Be careful.
Yeah.
Everybody's careful
This
here.
is the house of 100 handholds.
That's a good thing, though, right?
We had to.
You got to have them.
Yeah. When Reva broke her hip, that was the essential need. I don't really need it, but bon voyage.